How's it going, gang? It's the final render here and welcome to another exciting Fallout 76 camp building video. In this build video, we're going to be doing a camp build that I've wanted to do for a very long time, and that is a hospital camp build. We've got some really cool factions inside Fallout 76, primarily the responders who are all about hospital care because they were formed from the original emergency services. But in our reality, of course, one of the biggest stories of the 20s so far has been about COVID-19. It's the first thing kids are going to learn about the 20s when they open up their school textbooks in decades to come. But I do think we need to acknowledge these changes in our behaviour by building a COVID-19 vaccination centre inside Fallout 76. So let's go, people. It's going to be a good one. But on a serious note, people, I do really want you guys to pay attention to this video and think about all the people who are working hard to beat COVID-19 and all the people who have unfortunately passed away as a result of this virus. It's estimated that over 2 million people have died globally as a result of COVID-19, and the world is definitely on full speed to try to get vaccination centres up and running. And I urge you people, if you are able to get a vaccine, please do so. You do it not just to help yourself, but to help those around you, so that you can actually give the important ICU beds to people who need it, rather than you, who has had the vaccine, who may recover. Here in Britain, ICU nurses are currently completely overwhelmed, with many of them having to care for 4 or 5 patients each, when normally ICU nurses will care for one person at a time, meaning people who are in ICU are not getting the very important care that they need, simply because there are too many people not obeying the rules, and we really need to make sure that we all get the vaccine so that if we catch COVID-19, we don't occupy that important ICU space. So thank you very much for watching. Please be civil in the comment section. I don't want to see any anti-vaxxer nonsense. And I also ask you to wear your mask out in public, obey the rules, obey social distancing, and please look after yourself. Because if you can look after yourself, you'll help look after others. So to kick off this really cool COVID-19 vaccination centre build, we're going to need a very public location that everyone can get to. Here I have picked the Whitesprings. This is a very cool location right on the green of the Whitesprings, so get ready to say goodbye to your frame rate, because the Whitesprings has a lot of camps and typically that means the FPS goes downhill. But the point is, when you have a vaccination centre, you need to have a very public location that everyone knows and everyone can easily get to. Because if they can't get to your centre, it's going to cause a lot of problems logistically for you. So we're going to go and pop down some foundation units here. We're going to have quite a small building, I'm thinking maybe we're going to go like maybe 3 or 4 foundations long and then maybe 4 or 6 wide, something along those lines. The idea is that I want to have quite a small space because a lot of these COVID vaccination centres are just for small ones. We obviously do have the very big vaccination centres that they're going to be building in things like football stadiums or in giant convention centres like here in London. However, the small ones are also extremely important. The ones in town halls, the ones in school sports halls, stuff like that. The ones which everybody can get to. There's even a lot of companies here in the UK which are converting their pubs into vaccination centres. They've already got fridges and stuff like that aplenty, and they've got the space and they're not open. So why not, right? I think that's a fantastic thing overall. We're going to need quite a bit of budget for this build because we are going to have fully double-sided walls all across the entire building, and I want this building to be 1.5 walls tall, which means I will have to do some creative flamethrowing in order to get the double-sided walls using the half walls, because the main trick to doing double-sided walls is to use the doorways, but of course we don't have doorways for the half walls. We don't have any hobbit houses here inside Fallout 76, but if you want to go and throw one in the atomic store, a hobbit house building kit, that would be absolutely fantastic. And I want this building to look nice, so what I want to do is have a really nice kind of wooden panelled tower at the back of it. I don't really know what this would be used for. I mean, there might actually be a reason to have a tall building here. You know, maybe you could fill it with, communications equipment. Maybe you could go and actually have a little living room tower here if you wanted to. But in this case, it's purely for decoration. There's actually no room inside there. And we're going to have the outside look quite nice. We're going to have it make it look like it's actually being built using assets that have been found around the Whitesprings. So we've got a lot of those fabric areas that you can find above doorways and windows around the Whitesprings. It looks good. We're going to have a nice tiled floor inside because, of course, we need to actually clean the floor. It is important to be sanitary in places like this. And we need to have lots of signage on the front. So therefore, I have got some of these really cool light up boards, and I'm going to attach weapon rack displays to them. Because now we have a community centre sign. Looks good, right? Very simple to do. You can easily throw that on your camp. Doesn't cost much budget and looks really good. And I live here in the UK, so this is going to be an NHS-themed COVID vaccination centre. The NHS has been doing a fantastic job vaccinating people. I believe over 5 million, maybe 4 million people over the age of 70 and 80 have been vaccinated. So that's some of the really most vulnerable people have already been vaccinated. So if they catch COVID-19, they are far more likely to survive, which is fantastic. And I'm going to actually put a lot of emphasis on social distancing with the outside here. So we're going to have kind of a railed queuing system so that you can actually have people following a very particular way to queue and they won't actually interact with each other too much. And we're going to have these blue stickers on the floor to actually indicate where people need to stand, because social distancing is all about people obeying the rules. So if you put those stickers down, then people are far more likely to stand in the correct place. And you just kind of have them every 2 meters apart, and then you can ensure people are safe from breathing on each other who may have COVID-19. We're going to have to light up this place, and I really don't like having wires all around my camp, so therefore we're going to do everything with conduits hidden on the roof, so it means we're going to minimize visible wires, which I think is a very nice thing. And I wanted to have a really nice light box display. Now, I originally toyed with the idea of having a rainbow, because that's been kind of the universal symbol for the NHS in the last 2 years or so, is this lovely rainbow. And light boxes, unfortunately, take up your light allowance, and you can only have 50. So doing a rainbow would be way too many. You need far more than 50. So we're going to have a heart instead to show how much we love our hospital and emergency workers who are helping keep us safe in these dark times. And we're going to have lots of trees on the outside and also some signage to kind of explain some facts about COVID-19. So, and the overall place is about looking good from the front. And here we are with the place done. It looks very, very nice, I think. It looks simple and straight to the point, almost like it's been built very, very quickly, which a COVID-19 vaccination centre almost certainly would be. And we've got a lot of emphasis on social distancing, being in order, and making sure everyone is safe. We've got some important things for the game as well, like we've got decon arches as you enter with a switch, so you can actually turn on if you need it, so you don't actually annoy your bloodied friends. And we have got a really nice opening that I generally think is going to catch people's eye, and the fact that it's in the Whitesprings is a really good eye catcher, and it means people are more likely to come and visit the camp. Or in this case, the vaccination centre. We're going to have to go and tackle the inside now. We need a lot of lighting. This place needs to be well lit, it needs to be welcoming, and it needs to not have too much flashy stuff going on. The whole point of these vaccination centres is that they're set up quickly and they are efficient. They get the job done. So therefore we're going to have lots of lighting with white tiled floors and white ceramic walls, so everything is easy to clean and keep sanitary in hospital conditions. And now we are going to go and grab our new ally, who we actually haven't met before on the Final Render channel. This is Solomon Hardy, who is a medical doctor for the Brotherhood of Steel, and he will cure your radiation, he'll sell you meds, he'll cure your health bar, and look after you inside your camp. It's a very cool thing to have inside your camp, and it's a nice little addition to the allies list. And now we're going to use these really cool big black mats that you can get from the latest season, Season 3 inside Fallout 76. Is it wrong that I most look forward to having those rubber mats more than anything else in this season? Maybe that's just because I'm a builder, but I was really looking forward to those. Now, an important thing with vaccination centres is, of course, privacy, and also the idea that you can keep everything kind of modular. So therefore, we're going to have lots of privacy curtain rails around the entire place. We're going to have those power conduits make big rods, kind of curtain rail rods, and then we're going to have curtains on top of them. We're also going to divide this section up to actually have an emergency ICU ward. You wouldn't normally get that in a vaccination centre, but I also felt as if you would need that in order to kind of illustrate to players inside Fallout 76 how serious COVID-19 is. So therefore, we're going to have an ICU centre in there, and also to kind of pay homage to the people who are working in there way too long than they should. And we're actually going to kind of move everything back a little bit. I was worried about the amount of space we were having, so I actually moved everything around a bit so we have more space. And we have got 3 vaccination centres here, with only 1 doctor, of course, because a lot of the NHS workers are definitely understaffed, so therefore Solomon Hardy has got to do all of this himself, which is actually a very realistic and unfortunate reality of the COVID-19 virus. And we are also going to give him a little reception area and office area so he can kind of keep logs of everything, make sure everything is safe, along with some nice decorations in order to maybe keep kids and stuff like that happy who may have to go with their parents in order to go get vaccinated. Whilst it's true that children don't necessarily get high priority for the vaccine, maybe one day they will. And here we go with the main vaccination centre done. Everyone, I love the way this looks. This looks very realistic, it looks very believable. We've got Solomon Hardy here looking after the people of Appalachia all by himself. He could definitely use a rest. And here we have these really nice vaccination booths here. These are all kind of copy-paste of the same design, however they are all slightly different. We have got things like the fridges in there in order to keep the vaccines in. Most of the vaccines actually can be stored in a fridge, which is absolutely fantastic news for everyone setting up emergency vaccination centres. And I just rearranged the furniture a little bit in each one so it looks slightly different, almost as if it's kind of come from a template that's been slightly adjusted to fit in the area. And we do have some other nice things in here as well. We've got signage like you normally get in hospitals, advertising things that are happening in the area, along with important health and safety notices. We do have a vending machine in here and with a display of Nuka-Cola My Blood is in it because I thought we need that if it's a vaccination centre. And I do feel as if we need to have lots of sitting area as well as people wait and get their vaccinations. Really, if you go and get your jab, you are in and out very, very quickly. It takes no time at all. However, you do need to actually get as many people vaccinated as possible, so we may need to have a waiting area there. And overall, I think it looks really, really good. And now we're going to tackle the ICU here. As I said, a vaccination centre in real life would not have an ICU centre in there. However, I feel as if since we are going ahead and talking about the topic of COVID-19, we are going to have a small ICU centre in here, where unfortunately people are definitely going there in droves, and it's very hard for hospitals to keep up with the sheer amount of volume of people who are in ICU, many of which may not have needed to be there if they obeyed the rules. So in order to actually make the ICU, I've got these 2 beds inside the room, surrounded by computers. These are the ventilators and machines that are helping keep people alive, that are very, very expensive to maintain, but we need a lot of equipment to actually keep people in ICU going. And we've got lots of wires connecting the beds to the computers, so therefore the ICU nurses can actually have all the important care and equipment they need in order to help keep these people who are really struggling to survive. But of course, this is Fallout 76, so I am actually going to have some of my workshops in here as well. We're going to get the chemistry workbench in there. We're going to get the actual Tinkerer's workbench there too, because I imagine you might actually need something that you can get from a Tinkerer's workbench in there. And lots of responder-themed stash space. The responders are a fantastic faction. I would love to see more of them in future content updates. Maybe they come back in maybe a bigger variety. That would be really cool. But here we are with our little ICU section done. It's not very nice, it's morbid, it's kind of unpleasant, but unfortunately this is the reality of people who are currently in hospital, some of which have been in hospital since the start of the pandemic, almost a year. Some people have been attached to ICU machines and being cared for by nurses inside the ICU ward, and the doctors of course, and it is definitely causing a problem for the medical and health system. However, I am extremely grateful for all the nurses and doctors who are helping people in this time of need. So I just reiterate to people, please obey the rules, obey social distancing, wear your mask. If you need to get a test, do one. I have done 2 tests myself, they're fine, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, people. Thank you very much for watching this video, and remember to check out our cool Patreon people and our channel members. Special thank you to our level 3 members, currently consisting of PsykerGirl, Katrina McKenna, and Raven's Roost.